How are you doing? My name is Aaron with Nurture Family, and I'm here to help equip us to be steadfast in the wily ways of the enemy that come against our Christian marriages. Currently, it's 2024, and unlike any other, the enemy continues to threaten the institution of marriage. Marriage, as most of you know, is to be a reflection of a loving Jesus and how he cares for the church, and a loving, submissive church responding to that sacrifice and care for Jesus Christ. And so that's what marriage should be. It should be the husband, as the Bible states, is that role of loving his bride, which is represented the church in Ephesians, and the bride, woeful submission and honor to the husband. And that play back and forth should draw people more to Jesus than ever before. And that's the whole point of marriage, is the husband love and care for his wife in a way that is just so unique and whimsical and peculiar, should raise questions from people, and the wife's loving, willingful submission and respect for her husband raises questions for people of why are you doing this? And the question is answered from married Christian couples of, this is the model that Christ has shown us when he was walking the earth, and even under an open heaven, he's still loving and sacrificing for the Big C Church, and the Big C Church continues to be responsive and respectful and submitting to the things of the Lord. And so the threat that's coming against that is the enemy is going to try any way to put any kind of tainting on that. And currently nowadays, that's coming in a way to where the man's headship is being attacked. And that happens in two ways. The main way that, has been classically highlighted is just an overbearing, unloving, overdominant, and even abusive at times man. The man takes the bait of having his own challenges and his own disappointments and his own broken hearts, and then does not lovingly care for his wife or his kids, or step into his role that Christ has given him appropriately. And so that image of a man that is just being domineering, overbearing, unkind, and even sometimes abusive, that's going to cause a divide in the image that we're supposed to have of Christ loving the church. The second way that's getting more and more prominent in 2024 is that women are usurping and putting down the man. You have a God-fearing man who's chasing after the Lord and just trying to get it right, and women or the wife are pummeling and even at times manipulating the message of what's going on in the marriage so that they can get their way. And so we have to be on guard for both, because we have victory in Christ. And the answer to both problems is that we have to surrender ourselves unto Christ and be able to connect with the death and resurrection of what it's done for us and what it's done for you. And so when you are connected to that resurrection power of what Christ has actually done for you, a lot of the domineering that the husband may feel like he needs to do to have his way, or to deal with his broken heart, or to deal with his sense of rejection, starts to die down, because he doesn't see that image in the Bible. And he understands how Christ laid down his life for his benefit, so he's going to lay down his life for his wife. And as the wife continues to search the spirit and have a deep connection of what the Christ has done for her in the death and resurrection of Jesus, of how she could not deserve that, how none of us have deserved the grace given unto us under the Christ's resurrection, the wife can now willfully respond in a way to the husband's leadership, because she sees how the church did the same thing. And so there's all kind of media, good-intentioned pastors and good-intentioned counselors and books that will tell women to stand up and take their power back, and you have equal say in the marriage as well. And that is true, but that equal say comes in order, right? And so there's a lot of influence with special interest groups and even feminist movements that have a term, or the phrase partnership, going on in marriage. And nowhere in the Bible do we see this term partnership as it relates to marriage and as the world would like us for it to play out. There is a hierarchy and there is an order in marriage. And we have that responsibility to live that out and understand what that means. We are not partners in marriage. We partner in things, but we are not partners. We're husband and wife. We are equal co-heirs. The wife is not under the husband. The husband is not over the wife in Christ's eyes. But from a leadership and an order and how things are to function, the Bible does say the husband is the head of the wife, and the wife is to submit to the husband. And that is purely in a function of just how decisions are made and how the gospel of Christ and the mission for that family plays out. That does not make the wife less than the husband, and that does not make the husband better than the wife. It's just as the Bible states, it's more of it. If you look in the lexicon and you drill down kind of this submissive role and that term, it's a military term. It's a term of rank and order. And so just like a general would submit to, or a captain would submit to a general, or a sous chef would submit to a chef, it's that kind of function. Everyone has equal stake and equal value. But when it comes to the leading and moving the gospel of Christ forward in the home and the mission of that marriage forward, the husband is to have that lead. And there's a lot of influence out there that says, hey, this is a partnership. We're going to agree on everything. And if we don't agree on everything, we're going to bring an arbitrator, counselor in here to tell us what we need to do. And that's not Christ's model. The husband gets to suck at being a husband. The wife gets to suck at being a wife. That's completely fine. Just because a husband sucks at being a husband and following Christ doesn't mean the wife gets to usurp his authority. And just because the wife is sucking at being a wife and not, following Christ as she should, doesn't mean the husband gets to be domineering. We always want to extend grace and get the plank out of our own eye and know there's something bigger at stake, which is the image of Christ sacrificing himself and loving a church unconditionally, and the Big C church receiving that grace and that love, and then in response submitting willfully and respecting the order and the commands of the Lord. And so as we continue to understand that and embrace that, it will help us strengthen our families and hopefully help a lot of this, the confrontation and the back and forth in the homes calm down and die down, because we know what we're to be exhibiting and we know what we should be modeling. And so the husband knows what he should be modeling and the wife knows what she should be modeling. And we use terminology like spouse and co-heir and head of household and azer and helper, versus getting into the trends of the world of using, I'm looking for a partner. I want a partner. That's very dangerous and potentially reckless terminology to use for the gospel of Christ in Christian marriages, because we can't find that anywhere in the Bible. And it continues to breathe this sense of a term called equalitarianism, which means both the husband and the wife are equal from a decision in the headship. Whereas truly the Bible is more of a complementarianism, where the roles are different. The husband is the head of the wife, but the roles complement each other and both show a loving Father in heaven. And it draws people in, and people feel warm and comfortable around that married couple because they're ebbing and flowing in God's order, in God's hierarchy. And they see a husband giving his life for the wife, and you see the wife submitting and laying her will down for her husband. That's an amazing picture to exhibit in your local communities and for your children and those that are around you as well. So be encouraged today and be on guard to know that there's influences in this world and very widely terminology that will start to peel us away from the truth of what the gospel truly says marriage is supposed to be. So be vigilant, defend your marriage, love your spouse as Christ commands for you, for husbands and for wives, and be able to celebrate each other and receive the grace of God through the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, of knowing that is a gift that you could have never deserved. And because you could have never deserved that gift, how much more freely can you give unconditional love, service, respect, and submission to your spouse?